I've been asked by the Lonnie Beltmann Agency to share with you step 5 of the agency sales method, the opening appointment. The opening appointment, of course, is probably one of the most important parts of any sales method. But initially what I want to address is the death by appointment setter. If you're an organization who's using an appointment setter, by the time you get here, you're so far behind the curve and it just gets worse. First of all, your appointment setter has taken the data in the funnel and moved it right there. That's where it went. It did not go through qualification. It did not go through CRM. It did not go through establishing a relationship and building rapport. It didn't go through those phases. Which means when you get here, it's very likely that you're running an unqualified appointment. They don't have any money, they don't have any time, and they don't have any interest. It's very likely. And if that's happening to you, you're getting exhausted. If you're a sales professional out talking to people and you're 100% commission salespeople, you're going to be exhausted by that activity. That's the death of a salesman. That's the death of the salesman, which is by the death of the appointment setter. So first, you run into your first problem. You're running unqualified appointments. Second is you have no way to follow up with them because there's some company in Canada that's booking an appointment with a guy 3 feet away from you, and it's just data. It's on your calendar, but it's not anywhere for you to facilitate as we identified in the CRM system. And then the third problem is you're exhausting your salespeople and they're out running unqualified appointments. And then lastly, that directly affects your closing ratio. How many of these organizations are setting appointments, dropping their salesperson into an unqualified appointment, and then telling them they're a bad salesperson because their closing ratio is off because they set them up. They set them up wrong. The setup is wrong right there. This is essentially why you end up with 4 or 5 problems in the appointment setter, and you end up in the modern day, you've all seen the movie, The Death of a Salesman. This is what it is. It's sitting here right in front of us. The death of a salesman. What I want to talk about is the actual appointment itself when you get here. When you get to this appointment, we're very light on understanding what profession you are. We're very light on we're going to go sell an engineer, or we don't really care what you do for a living, and we don't care what you're selling for a living. This method applies to everybody and everything. What we say when we walk into an appointment, right? Much like we believe Al Granum's CRM system is primary, we believe the Ben Duffy approach is it. Ben Duffy approach is I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, a little about the company I work for, and a little bit about the way we do business. Okay, that's all you're going to do in that opening appointment when you enter in. Tell you a little bit about me, a little bit about myself, a little about the way we do business. Hey, I'm going to tell you a little about Lonnie Beltmann. I'm going to tell you a little about the Lonnie Beltmann Agency sales method, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about how it's going to benefit you in increasing revenue, generating more sales, and having a lot more time on your hands. That's what Ben Duffy does as he's walking through the door. Then what Ben Duffy does is he flips it up and he says, hey, do you mind if I ask you some questions? What are your interests? What are your needs? Are you getting where you want to get to? What's keeping you from getting there? Okay, then we move in to what may be that closing move. See, step 5 and step 6 can be one particular meeting, even though the Lonnie Beltmann Agency method loves to gather the data, go back to the office, present 3 proposals, and let them take a choice. But you can make this move in one appointment if you need to. You can move to the close. If you feel like you've established the relationship, you've built a rapport, and you've passed through what we call the 4 barriers, ethos, pathos, logos, they know you're compassionate and you care about them and what you're going to do is in their best interest, you can move to the close. That's where we're going next. We're going to the closing move. And we'll see you there.